The percentage of girls watching the latest video went up by 5% the moment I put this on.
That's big.
And
you spent 5 years.
The region was Texas. I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. We're up from 4%. We're up to 9% of female viewership now.
Okay, so maybe we need to sell a SAMMIT.
Hi ladies, how are you?
SAMMIT merchandise line for this.
SAMMIT Texas Cowboy bathwater for $5.99. Welcome back to the channel and our Suzuki Jimny build. This by far is the manliest, most testosterone pumping car that you could ever buy. This is 100% the car you want if you want to get into four-wheel driving or off-roading. This is so good at what it does that when you go four-wheel driving with your friends on the trails, you have to just occasionally pretend that you get stuck and need their help so that, you know, you don't feel bad for them getting stuck all the time. This is what a Suzuki Jimny is for. There are so many reels and stories and videos online of these things pulling out Land Cruisers, Pajeros, and big full-size cars. These things are incredible. In the USA, I think they're called Samurais, but they're a little bit different, I believe, like just model-wise with like maybe the engines and stuff like that. They have a K660cc engine in this one. But yeah, in the US, I'm not entirely sure what they got, but what is really cool is you can engine swap these because the transfer case is actually separate from the transmission. So you could just put anything in here and connect it up to that, if that makes any sense. Some bad ideas popping into my head right now. But there is one major issue with this. One major issue. In the last video, we made a discovery. It seems like the alternator has failed. So let's confirm that. It's not charging at all. That should be like 13.5, 14 volts. I had to let this thing sit on the charger overnight. So that's why we got this box here from a company on Yahoo Auctions that offers a rebuilding service. They send you a rebuilt alternator and then you put your old one back in this box and send it back to them. Pretty cool. Look how tiny this is. Look at this, look at this, look at this. It's the cutest little baby alternator, oh my gosh. I'd love to see how many of these we'd need to like keep a Cummins charged and running with this, because this is like a kid's toy. I could give this to Hugo and he'd probably play with it. Look at its connector, it's just 2 pins and they're like flat ones. It's so cute. Anyways, I'm getting distracted, but we gotta change this. We gotta do all of our maintenance today. There is so much that we need to do to make sure this is in tip-top condition. We obviously ran this thing through water and mud and stuff. We've gotta drain all the diff fluid out and trans fluid and check all of that. Make sure the vents are in a high spot so that when we go do it again, that it's not gonna breathe in and suck in water. So we definitely wanna relocate those higher up on the chassis. But let's go through and do all of our preemptive maintenance and little mods and stuff like that so that we can start four-wheel driving this and saving some people. We've partnered with Japan's biggest car exporter, FORWARD, for this build series. If you want to export any cars out of Japan, whether you'd like a Jimny just like this one or any other cars from Japan, use FORWARD. Check out their website and the link down in the description, and best of luck finding your dream car. I've got Daiki researching what's involved to get the alternator out because it looks like we're gonna have to pull the radiator, which is good though because I wanna actually repaint this radiator. This is a real brass tank and copper core radiator. So if it's not painted, the elements will start corroding away the copper, which is what you're seeing there. So we can still save this, clean it up and repaint it and it should be good. That aside though, while he's researching how to get the alternator out, I figured let's have a look at our air filter here and see how bad it is and whether or not we need to change it or if we can get away with a quick clean. By the way, a few people were saying when we're gonna turbo swap this. I don't know if you know, we got a good old choo-choo down there. She is probably about the size of my fist, but this is turbo. That's what this is. This is an intercooler, helps cool the air through the hood scoop. It's not just for looks, this hood scoop. It's actually to cool the air going into the engine. It may be the smallest and cutest one in the world, but yeah. Oh yeah, we're gonna have to clean this for sure. How cool is that? We can just pull that out. You know what, it's not that bad. I can probably just get a new one though.
You know, looks better than the one in the Z.
Definitely, but it is pretty dirty. So it might be worth us changing it. Like it's pretty gross. Yeah, we'll see if we can get a new one today from like Yellow Hat or something. They should have one in stock. It's pretty bad actually, looking in the seams of it. So we'll add that to the list. We definitely want to change that. And in the future, it would be so easy for us to have a hole in the side of the hood here that comes up the pillar and we could snorkel this. Because look, it's just right there. It's like 2.5 inch right there. So just 2.5 inch pipe. out the side of the hood, little cutout, and then up here, and then just put a pod filter up there. Easy, done, solved. We can have a snorkel, and then this thing can go deep. You wanna like go, and like water's up to here, mate, and we're still chooching through, and the car's still on. That's like a goal of mine. I don't know where we're gonna find like a proper pit like that. While Daikie's working on getting the radiator out and that alternator, it's time to start draining fluids. Looks like we can just slide. Oh, coolant. Oh, God. Daikie. It's all good. Every cowboy uses coolant for their hair product anyways, right? Right?
That's what the hat's for, to protect you.
Yeah, well, not when I'm sideways. All right, we got the oil pan draining. Covered my hand in oil, but it's all good. Looks really runny. I'd probably run something a little thicker. But what's kind of cool is I can just slide this over here while that's draining in there, and I can probably crack open the diff at the same time and drain both. Yeah, I can. Look at that, you beauty.
Don't forget there's 2.
2 diffs?
Yes,
Oh, don't worry, I'm not gonna forget there's 2.
2 sacks.
No, mate. Oh yeah, she had a bit of water in her.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's what happens when you run the trails like a man. While I'm letting that drain and dribble out, I figured I'd pull the plugs and check those out, because if we're going to go to Yellow Hat and get a new air filter, we might as well make sure the plugs are good. So we're gonna pull those 3 out. Yes, 3-cylinder, 660 cc's, guys. This thing is a beast. And I think Daikie's already gotten pretty much most of the stuff disconnected, so this radiator should be coming out soon too. So gotta set that up to drain all the water. I bet you these have not been changed ever. So it'll be interesting to see. Got the 3 plugs out. Number 4 was completely loose, and you can see that combustion's been leaking past it. So we're gonna actually gain a bit of power when we change these. But all of these plugs, they're pretty old iridiums, and you can see that the tip is really worn away. So good to try and change those out at the same time as our dirty air filter here. Definitely worth a change. I think we'll pick up probably a couple lost horsepower in just changing these, and obviously sealing that rear spark plug correctly will also give us a little bit more power too, because it was leaking combustion for sure. One thing you got to be careful of when installing plugs is they have this crush washer here. You want to torque them down to spec, go a little past it so the crush washer crushes, then back it off and re-torque it. That's usually how I like to install spark plugs, to make sure that you've crushed the washer correctly, and that way it's not going to loosen up and then you'll start losing combustion. Sometimes I have bought a car that sounded like it had rod knock, but it was actually just a loose spark plug. And you just tighten the spark plug and the noise goes away. They can produce a pretty interesting sound when combustion's leaking through there. Daikie's undone everything. The oil's still draining. We've got some coolant coming out of this thing still from the engine side. But this should now lift out quite easily. Oh, it's a heavy radiator, hey? Brass and copper, man, they don't make them like this anymore. Oof. Look at that. What's crazy is it's literally the only place that's starting to corrode is what was exposed to the elements up the top here. So we'll clean that all up and we should be able to paint that, and it'll still last another like 10 years or so, as long as it's protected by some kind of coating. So that should do well. We can also treat that too. The back of it looks amazing. The back of it, no problem at all. But we'll still pressure wash, clean it all up, and then we'll take the fan off and we'll give this thing a nice coat of fresh paint. Should fix it right up. Really nice. Dump the rest of the coolant out of it though. Nice green Kool-Aid. That looks like lime cordial from Australia. Let me know in the comment section if you know what I'm talking about. Do they still have good lime Coddy's cordial in Australia? Now that we've got the radiator out, we actually have some room to do things. Looks like this is the tensioner for the accessory belt to the alternator. The alternator doesn't have the tensioner built into it. My biggest concern is trying to slide this out is that this aircon line is right here. So what we might have to do is loosen the tensioner on the back of the aircon pump, AC compressor, and take the belt off, slide that down to get the room to pull the alternator out. It's a little involved, but we have the space now, and the radiator was relatively easy to pull out, so we're winning. Everything else looks pretty straightforward, and we're still trying to call around and see if anyone has plugs in an air filter. I've just cracked the oil filter, and just once, I'd love it if car manufacturers would talk to their engineers, or maybe it's the engineer's fault, I don't know, but I'd love it if you cracked an oil filter and it just went straight down and didn't dribble on something else on the car. Now I'm gonna have to clean the whole axle and everything because that is directly under it, and all the oil just dribbles onto that and then straight into the pan. Out with the old and in with the fresh K&N filter. Best filters in the game. Let's go. It's kind of wild that the same size filter goes on my comp car. To be completely honest, that is a little crazy. There we go, get that in there. I love that it has a little end there for a wrench to just go straight on it. I'll get that out and tighten that, but she's in there, clean her off with some parts cleaner, we'll be good. I thought this would be a great opportunity to show you guys what oil I use in all my SRs, RBs, and JZs. The K-Van just got a normal 10W40, but this is what we run in all of our SRs, RBs, and JZs, is a 17.5W50. Now, if it's a race car, we use the crazy 20W60 stuff for the comp car and stuff, but this is the go-to for street driven as well as track driven. Like, this is just what we use in all of our normal SRs and RBs, as well as just normal JZs and stuff. Like Supra gets it, the Silvias get it, the Skyline gets it, and that's pretty much what everyone recommends in Japan as well for these cars. So highly recommend it. If you can't get the Sunoco Brilliant engine oil, which by the way, I highly recommend you use it if you can. We use it pretty much on everything, see all the cans everywhere. But just get an equivalent, like at least a 15W50 is also a go-to oil that a lot of people run in SRs and RBs and JZs here. So just for your older Japanese sports cars, highly recommend that. And then even some of these K engines, like they're pretty old, they've done a lot of miles, they're small engines. I would still recommend putting at least like a 10W40 in it. It's just, look, a little bit more of a thicker oil isn't gonna hurt it. Now, of course, if you live in a crazy cold place, then by all means, run a little bit of a, less thicker oil, depending on where you live and stuff and what's recommended. I would probably drop down to, I'd say in winter on one of these street cars, if I'm dailying it all the time, I'd probably drop down to only 10W40. But in this, I'd probably drop down a little more, like 10W30, 10W20 or something, or maybe even 5W30 or something. But yeah, anyways, what we run in pretty much everything is a 17.5W50. Except for this. This gets the 20W60 stuff. This alternator is no joke to get to. It is not simple. We're still working on this.
A few moments later.
Successfully got the old one out, and that's gonna go back in this bag and in that box and get sent back to the guy that rebuilds them. Daiki's already got the fresh one sitting there. It looks good. Kind of started cleaning everything with a bit of parts cleaner, making sure it's all nice and clean. We've gone and gotten this shroud, a little bit of a nice lick of paint. Looks great. And then we've gone and given the radiator a nice paint as well. Looks way better now. And hopefully now that we've sealed that back up, it should stop corroding the copper core. Draining the oil from the rear diff right now. And it doesn't look like that had any kind of water contamination. Also looks like it's really old diff fluid. It wasn't the same quality as what we pulled out of the front, which is kind of interesting. But still nonetheless, dumping that out, putting some fresh stuff in. I'm about to undo the transmission, which is the cutest trans in the world. I've been working on resealing this gasket, put a new one in because that was leaking. But this is the cutest trans in the world. That's my whole hand. Looks like filling is up here and draining is here. But then the transfer case is here, and I think there'll be a drain and a fill over here too that we need to get to, and I need to look up what goes in that one. But all very easy and simple to work on, it looks like. Looks like this seal's kind of popped off though. I'll just clean that up. Just spraying a bit of grease there. Probably just needs a zip tie around it again. Doesn't look like it's torn. Otherwise, everything's pretty nice under here. Very stoked on this thing. Not bad. We've recently started using these drill pumps and they're a game changer. How quick you can fill diffs. Any moment now. All right, stop. We're full. We're finished with the rear end, the transfer case. Now we're onto the trans. I'm thinking this is another engineering miss site because I think this is gonna end up dribbling all over the exhaust here. Let's see, 3, 2, 1. Oh, exactly like I thought. What a bad place to put a transmission drain. All over the catalytic converter and everywhere because it just sprayed. That sucks. Ugh. Now that the alternator's in, we're waiting for the radiator to finish drying, but we called around and not even Monster Sport had these plugs in stock, but we've ordered them with a new air cleaner, air filter, whatever you want to call it, and it's going to arrive tomorrow or the day after. So for the time being, I've cleaned these plugs up, I re-gapped them, even used a bit of the gas burner on them to burn off some of the carbon, and it's back to the gap that it should have been brand new. We'll see how this works for the time being, but we do have new plugs on the way and a new air filter. I'm gonna have to just clean the air filter for now or run it without one, just so we can hear the difference. Because I have a feeling that this thing's gonna idle and run so much better now that these plugs are gapped back to where they need to be, because they were so worn. They were like 60 thousandths, 70 thousandths, which is crazy. I think it's thousandths, I don't know, whatever the spark plug gauge is at, but it was very worn and burned. So now that it's all good, maybe it'll run and idle better. We'll see. But let's put these in. Glad we've got some new plugs on order. Tighten her up. And we'll go and do that for all of them. I think it's gonna idle and run so much better anyways because number 4 was so loose, it was leaking compression. So that's gonna obviously be a big improvement. Got the radiator back in. Looks good with the coat of paint. Way better than what was there before, and I think we'll get plenty of life still out of it. We changed everything to hose bands here because the old clamps were trash, and putting fresh coolant in this thing. So it's got new engine oil, new diff oil, new trans oil, like everything's been done, everything's been serviced. I'm gonna hunt around for an actual proper kit. Otherwise, I was thinking of just running vent hoses up here and just putting like an aquarium kind of bleeder, like air bleeder, or not air bleeder, but air filter off it, because they only need to be like, you know, small silicone hose, just like a vacuum line almost that goes to the top of the diff. So if I can use just like aquarium air filters or something off hoses up here in the engine bay and then in the back too, I'll probably just run a hose along the body and up in the engine bay. That might be more than enough. Or we'll make like a small little catch tank style thing with one of those little K&N mini filters on it. But for now, I think this is good to start. I'm excited to see what this thing's gonna sound like now that the plugs have been gapped to where they should be again and cleaned. I think it's gonna sound good. Let's see, let's turn that AC off first. Dude, starts and idles way better already. Oh, well, we gotta check the number one thing that we had to do, pretty much pull the radiator out for and everything, was for that alternator. So let's check that real quick. Let's see now if it's charging or not. Hey, 14.37. We're good. 3.6 now, but yeah. Alternator's working. We fixed it. Good stuff. We've done so much on this thing today. Every single fluid has been completely changed, and we've changed the alternator and done a ton of other general maintenance stuff. We have a brand new air filter coming tomorrow morning and spark plugs, so I'm excited about that. But overall, we've changed a bunch of seals, some clamps and things like that to make this thing last longer. I think this thing's gonna feel great with fresh engine oil, all the trans and the diffs got changed. It's definitely gonna feel way better. I cannot wait to take this thing back to that four-wheel driving park. But first things first, next video, we have some cosmetics and very practical mods to do to this thing still, involving something to do with that and the empty space on the roof. I've been paying attention to the comments, and yeah, I mean, it was always kind of the plan to do that, but also it just made me want to do it even sooner. So we got a couple big boxes over there that you'll see in the next video where we're going to be changing the overall look of this thing and making it way more practical. And then after that video, we're going back to the full driving park because I need to test this thing. I need to see how it's going to drive, how it's going to feel, and what kind of difference it's made. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed this series so far. It's been a lot of fun jumping into the four-wheel drive / off-roading scene. And I know we haven't even touched the surface yet, but these cars have definitely got me excited, and I think we definitely going to start getting into it even deeper than this. So leave some comments down. Let me know what I need to do, what I need to get. But most importantly, thank you BForward for partnering with us with this build. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one where we've got, I think, a couple more mods to do, and then straight back to the four-wheel driving track, and we've got to definitely scare Daiki and May again. See you guys. Peace. Ciao mata. How you doing?
Cowboy.
Cowboy.
やってるよ、帽子が。
Belt buckle too?
どこで売ってるの
Amazon. 全部3000 yen. 3,000 yen for the hat and the buckle as a set.
Oh.
Okay.
And then I
Guys,
had
ready?
the shirt already.
You gotta say the magical word. 3, 2, 1.
Hee haw!